fall to pieces, I'm falling.
I've got to burn a country that's divided.
World outside, wondering will Mother Earth survive?
What if I told you that some of the biggest names in heavy metal legends, who once ruled the stage with fire and fury, have stumbled so far into addiction that they can barely stand, let alone perform? These rock gods didn't just party hard, they pushed it to the edge and beyond. From slurred lyrics to collapsed tours, their wild lifestyles left them wrecked, wasted, and sometimes completely unrecognizable on stage. Here are 10 heavy metal stars who were just too wasted to perform. 10. Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness and frontman of Black Sabbath, is a rock legend whose early career was as much defined by his wild antics as by his pioneering heavy metal sound. But behind the iconic voice and stage presence was a long, harrowing battle with drugs and alcohol that nearly destroyed him and countless shows. In the early years of Black Sabbath, Ozzy's substance abuse was out of control. His addiction to alcohol, cocaine, and various other drugs led to missed rehearsals, chaotic performances, and erratic behavior that frustrated bandmates and fans alike. Recording sessions for albums like Never Say Die in 1978 became nightmares, with Ozzy often too intoxicated to perform properly. His drug use wasn't just a backstage problem, it spilled onto the stage, with shows frequently marred by slurred vocals, incoherence, and bizarre onstage antics fueled by his addictions. Ozzy's addiction reached a breaking point multiple times, including infamous incidents like biting the head off a bat on stage, which symbolized the chaos of his lifestyle. Despite several attempts at rehab, his substance abuse continued well into the 1980s, affecting his solo career and personal life. Yet, Ozzy's resilience and eventual commitment to sobriety have allowed him to reclaim his legacy. 9. Vince Neil. Vince Neil, the frontman of the glam metal band Mötley Crüe, was notorious for his hard-partying lifestyle that often overshadowed his musical talent. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Neil's addiction to alcohol and drugs led to numerous disastrous performances and public incidents that nearly ended his career. Neil's substance abuse was so severe that fans and critics frequently slammed him for drunk, incoherent performances. Concerts that should have been electrifying became embarrassing spectacles as Neil stumbled on stage, slurred his words, or simply couldn't remember lyrics. His addiction wasn't limited to the stage off stage. Neil's reckless behavior culminated in a tragic 1984 car accident that killed his friend and Mötley Crüe's drummer's girlfriend, a dark moment that many attribute partly to his substance abuse. Despite multiple stints in rehab, Neil's battle with addiction dragged on for years, affecting his relationships with bandmates and his ability to maintain a consistent career. His story is a cautionary tale about how fame and excess can fuel destructive habits. Though Neil has made strides toward sobriety in recent years, the scars of his past addictions remain a defining part of his legacy. 8. Scott Wyland. Scott Wyland was one of rock's most charismatic frontmen, known for his haunting vocals and poetic lyrics with Stone Temple Pilots and Velvet Revolver. But behind the magnetic stage presence was a decades-long struggle with heroin and alcohol addiction that ultimately cost him his life. Wyland's addiction began early in his career and became a constant battle that affected every aspect of his life. His drug use led to erratic behavior, missed shows, and conflicts with bandmates. Despite his undeniable talent, Wyland's addictions caused him to lose control over his career multiple times. He was fired from Stone Temple Pilots twice, in part due to his substance abuse issues. His addiction also led to legal troubles, rehab stints, and public meltdowns. Tragically, Wyland died in 2015 from an accidental overdose of cocaine and other substances. 7. Phil Anselmo. Phil Anselmo, the fierce and aggressive vocalist of Pantera, was as famous for his powerful voice and intense stage presence as he was for his public battles with drugs and alcohol that nearly destroyed his life and career. His addiction story is one of pain, excess, and near tragedy that unfolded in the spotlight during Pantera's rise and fall. Anselmo's substance abuse began in earnest in the mid-1990s, largely fueled by chronic back pain from an injury he sustained while performing. To manage the pain, he turned to heavy drinking and began abusing painkillers and muscle relaxants, which eventually led him down the path to heroin addiction. His drug use escalated to the point where it severely affected his health and performances. In July 1996, after a show in Dallas, Texas, Anselmo overdosed on heroin and went into cardiac arrest, his heart stopping for 4 to 5 minutes before paramedics revived him. He later described that moment as a near-death experience that shook him deeply. Despite this wake-up call, Anselmo struggled with addiction for years, relapsing multiple times. His behavior became erratic, both on and off stage, straining relationships within Pantera and contributing significantly to the band's eventual breakup in 2003. He openly admitted that drugs nearly destroyed his life, and in 2005, he finally stopped using hard drugs to undergo successful back surgery. Since then, Anselmo has remained clean from heroin and other hard substances, and even gave up alcohol in 2016. His journey from addiction to recovery is marked by brutal honesty about his darkest moments and the toll substance abuse took on his career and personal life. 6. Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine, the founder and frontman of thrash metal legends Megadeth, is celebrated for his fierce guitar skills and distinctive vocal style. Yet, his early career was plagued by heavy drug and alcohol abuse that nearly derailed his success and personal life. Mustaine's substance abuse began in the 1980s and quickly spiraled out of control. He has candidly admitted in interviews that during this period, he was often too intoxicated to remember entire performances. His addiction to alcohol, cocaine, and other drugs led to chaotic shows, missed rehearsals, and a reputation for unreliability that frustrated his bandmates and threatened Megadeth's rise in the metal scene. Despite these challenges, Mustaine's talent kept Megadeth afloat, but the toll of addiction was undeniable. His erratic behavior and substance use created tension within the band and contributed to lineup changes and instability. However, Mustaine's story is also one of resilience. After years of battling addiction, he sought sobriety and has been clean for many years, crediting his recovery with saving his life and career. Today, Mustain is vocal about the importance of sobriety and mental health, often sharing his experiences to help others struggling with addiction. 5. Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee, the wild and unpredictable drummer of Mötley Crüe, became synonymous with the band's hard-partying image in the 1980s and 1990s. Known for his explosive drumming and larger-than-life personality, Lee's career was frequently overshadowed by his excessive lifestyle, which included heavy drug and alcohol use. His wild partying often led to missed performances and chaotic behavior that frustrated fans and bandmates alike. Lee's substance abuse was part of the band's notorious reputation for excess, but it also had serious consequences. He was known for disappearing for days at a time, sometimes missing entire shows or arriving on stage visibly intoxicated. His addiction fueled a cycle of self-destruction that threatened to derail Mötley Crüe's success multiple times. Despite these issues, Lee's talent and charisma kept the band together through turbulent years. Over time, Lee faced several run-ins with the law and entered rehab multiple times to address his addiction. His journey toward sobriety has been rocky but ongoing, and he has spoken candidly about the toll drugs and alcohol took on his health and relationships. 4. Slash. Slash, the iconic guitarist of Guns N' Roses, is celebrated for his signature riffs and legendary solos, but his career was nearly cut short by a severe drug addiction that led to chaotic concerts and personal turmoil. Beginning in the late 1980s, Slash's cocaine and heroin use spiraled out of control, threatening both his health and the band's future. His addiction led to erratic behavior on and off stage, with performances sometimes marred by missed cues and unpredictable conduct. Slash has admitted that his drug use nearly cost him his life, including a terrifying overdose that forced him to confront the destructive path he was on. The chaos extended beyond the stage, affecting relationships within Guns N' Roses and contributing to the band's instability. Despite these struggles, Slash eventually sought treatment and has maintained sobriety for many years. His recovery allowed him to continue his musical career with renewed focus and creativity. 3. James Hetfield. James Hetfield, the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist of Metallica, has had a long and public battle with addiction that has affected both his health and the band's touring schedule. Hetfield's struggles with alcohol and substance abuse have been well documented over the years, including in the documentary Some Kind of Monster. In 2019, Hetfield entered rehab once again, forcing Metallica to cancel their highly anticipated tour dates in Australia and New Zealand. The band released a heartfelt statement explaining that Hetfield had been struggling with addiction on and off for many years and needed to focus on his recovery. This was not the first time Hetfield sought treatment. He has entered rehab multiple times throughout his career to address his substance issues. Hetfield has been open about the challenges of facing addiction while maintaining a high-profile career. He has spoken about the importance of sobriety and the ongoing work required to stay clean. 2. Axl Rose. Axl Rose, the mercurial frontman of Guns N' Roses, became infamous not only for his powerful voice, but also for his erratic and unpredictable behavior on stage, much of which was fueled by substance abuse and excessive partying. While Rose was not always visibly intoxicated during performances, his lifestyle was marked by heavy drug and alcohol use that contributed to his reputation as a volatile and unreliable performer. His addiction issues manifested in frequent late starts, canceled shows, and public confrontations with both band members and fans. Rose's mood swings and substance-fueled outbursts often threw concerts into chaos, making Guns N' Roses' live shows as unpredictable as they were legendary. This unpredictability frustrated fans and created tension within the band, yet Axl's raw vocal talent and magnetic stage presence kept the band at the forefront of rock music throughout the late 1980s and 1990s. Over the years, Rose's battles with addiction have been well documented, with periods of heavy drug use followed by attempts at sobriety. While he has made efforts to curb his excesses, his legacy remains complicated by the impact of his substance abuse on his career and the band's stability. 1. Layne Staley. Layne Staley, the haunting and emotive voice of Alice in Chains, was a gifted singer whose career was tragically cut short by a severe heroin addiction. Beginning in the early 1990s, Staley's addiction quickly escalated, profoundly affecting his health, performances, and ability to maintain a public life. His struggles with heroin were well known among fans and bandmates, leading to missed live appearances and canceled tours that frustrated those close to him. Staley's addiction was deeply intertwined with personal tragedy and trauma. He was introduced to heroin by his fiancée, Demery Parrott, and after her death in 1996, his substance abuse worsened, leading him into near-total seclusion. Despite several attempts at rehabilitation, Staley's addiction proved relentless. His voice, once powerful and emotive, became a symbol of the pain and darkness he battled internally. Alice in Chains' 1995 self-titled album, often called Tripod, was recorded during the height of Staley's addiction, with lyrics reflecting his struggles. The band's inability to tour in support of the album was largely due to Staley's deteriorating condition. His addiction ultimately ended his career prematurely, and on April 5, 2002, Staley died from an overdose of heroin and cocaine, a mixture known as a speedball. His death marked a devastating loss for the music world, highlighting the destructive power of addiction. The Lane Staley Memorial Fund was established to honor his legacy by supporting heroin addiction treatment and recovery efforts. These metal icons may have built their fame on chaos and rebellion, but sometimes the lifestyle hits back harder than the music ever could. Missed shows, mumbled lyrics, total meltdown, some burned out right in front of their fans. Which name on this list surprised you the most? Or is there another wild on-stage meltdown we should have included? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love the raw, unfiltered truth behind the fame, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to smash that bell icon so you never miss the next jaw-dropping story. Thanks for watching.